All right, I want to thank everyone for being here.
Uh,
Welcome to the Cars Racing Show. I am Kate Dillon. I am one of the organizers for the Cars Racing Show alongside my brother Jimmy Schiltz. I am also have a booth here, so I am from CrateInsider.com, and I have been a dealer for. With Buck and I have known each other. Gosh, it's at least it was from like the 2013 Cars
At
Racing
least 10
Show.
years.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's even longer.
Yeah, longer, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been a dealer for his products. I'm familiar with them, and just as a human being, one of the nicest people I know. So I'm really excited to introduce my.
Money.
Yeah, making it rain.
Yeah.
So he's, of course, we're one of my incredibly good friends, and I have so much respect for Buck, and also big shout out. I mean, he is the presenting sponsor for the Cars Racing Show, and we are so incredibly grateful. 5 years in a row. So thank you for your support there, Buck, for sure. Yes.
Anybody that knows Kate does a phenomenal job at everything she does, and so we're happy to be a part of this show too. So you're gonna go make an announcement?
Yes, I've been the radio voice of the Cars Racing Show, so I have to go make a couple announcements. I'll be right back. In the meantime, it's very interesting to me to see what the advancements that we've seen in tire treatments, that this isn't, the minute you say tire treatments and people freak out because they think we're talking about like we're going to use like the most toxic mixture of garbage that is known to man, and things have changed, and I think sometimes we need to adapt to it. And Buck has done amazing work, and he's got some great stories. So Buck Parker from Daytona One, welcome.
Yes.
And let's learn a little bit about tire treatments. I'll be
All
right
right.
back.
Thank you. All right, guys, this is an informal deal. So anybody that has a question, just ask it whenever, and you don't worry about it. My name is Buck Parker. We own Magellan International, which owns the Daytona One brand, and y'all can come by and see us at the show. If you haven't seen all of our products, we do make the tire treatment products, but we also are known for our lubricants. So historically, we've made lubricants for about 40 chemicals for about 40 years. So, but let's talk about tire treatments. Everybody here knows how expensive tire treatments are, and historically, and they keep going up and going up and going up. But one of the things that we do know is that when someone says tire treatments, everybody sort of cringes because the world. I mean, I akin it to the invisible fence with the dogs, because your dog will run up to that fence and then he'll turn around and come back because he got shocked every time. With the tire treatments, it's almost the same thing, because you say something about tire treatments and it hurts. Everybody sort of cringes because it's illegal to a lot of places. The track owners don't like it because they have to go through the process. The sponsors, the promoters and everything, they don't really care for it. So nobody really cares for it to enforce the tire treatment, because nobody wins. So what we did was develop a line of products that don't degrade tires. In 1969 or whenever it was, when NASCAR had realized that there was a problem, that people were melting tires off of cars, and it was dangerous. It was dangerous. The chemicals that they were using, they had to stop tire treating. So, and rightfully so. But historically, now over the last 10 or 12 years, we've been able to design a full line of products. Number one, our products don't smell. If you see, we sell them in plastic containers. It's the products that are out there today that are really bad for you, they're in metal, because they won't stay in a plastic container, because they'll melt them apart. So now then, just talking about that, now what we wanted to do in this year at PRI, we did do a presentation for a lot of sanctioning bodies, a lot of race teams, a lot of track owners, but not enough. So what we'd like for you to do, once you see what we see today, is go back and tell people that there are good products that really do work, that are good and safe. But now let me tell you how they work. To treat a tire, I guess everybody, you just want to know how to treat a specific tire, or I just tell you how we treat this tire. This tire was a 3-year-old tire out from behind the barn, and if you feel it, it's just and these tires historically glaze over when they're racing. So what we do is we bring this tire back to a new like condition. If you haven't touched this tire, you can come up here and feel it, because once we get through with the tire, we clean it, we strip it with a product called the Aqua. That product is not only a cleaner, but it's a wax remover. And the wax is in these tires. It's called mold release, and they're cooked into this tire, and they go very deep into the tire. And so you think, well, I grind it off or sand it off. You never get rid of it. It's in that tire because it's in there deep. So, but it has to be, or they couldn't get that rubber out of that mold. It's just that simple, and it's a wax.
And I just thought of something on that too. So if anybody has used like Pam cooking spray, and then you can have a brand new pan, and then over the course of time, how that just builds up on that pan and builds up because it's been baked in, and that's kind of what's happening with that tire is getting baked in like that.
Well, anybody, for instance, you go out there and you're racing, and you got a brand new tire. It does a wonderful job. You go through a heat cycle, and you're out there for about 20 laps, and that thing's just doing a great job. And then you cool down, and then you start to go back to racing again, and you can't race because it's glazed over. And that 90% of that is that mold release that's coming to the top. Because, and then when it gets up, it solidifies on there. And anytime that you see it, and that's not 100% of it, but it's a lot of it. And you've seen that glaze, that yellowish look and that glaze, that's what you've got here. And so we know how to remove that. And that's a big step. Anybody, if you don't do anything, if you're in a situation where it's not allowed to treat a tire, use the Aqua, because the Aqua will take that mold release out. But you'll have to do it. But it will continue to come to the top. So now, Kate we get lots of questions about tires. Is there some of them that y'all have a question about how to treat an individual tire or a specific tire?
Well, okay. Oh, so what do you do with a brand new tire to get the mold release out?
Okay. Well, what I tell you, do go ahead and put a heat cycle on it, because if you got a new tire, you're gonna get the goodie out of it, and then once you, but the biggest problem if you're in a long race or something like that, and you get out there, that wax is gonna come to the top. So if you just clean it with that product right there. And the Aqua X is a 1 gallon. It makes 2 gallons. Put it in I call them a bug sprayer, and then spray the tire. Let it set for 3 to 5 minutes. Don't let it dry. Hit it with a pressure washer, and you're done. It's that easy. And then if you're going to treat the tire after that, you let it bone. It has to be bone dry. You don't want any water in the pores, because it won't have any place to go. So at that time, you'll put. But like this tire has the Aqua and the blue, and if you can come and feel it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But you'll put about 6 ounces on this tire, so the bottle lasts a long time. And what we recommend doing, a lot of people's got rollers and stuff like that, but you can take a regular little sponge roller and dip it in here and just rub it on like you're painting a tire, and then wrap it with plastic and lay it on its side. And that's all you do. You don't have to work it every day, nothing like that. And let it set on its side for 3 or 4 days on the blue. Now, the green is another product that you can use on the outside, but the inside on an asphalt tire, it does amazing things. Because your asphalt tires have really rigid sidewall, and there's some of these other tires that you have to run are recaps and stuff like that. They have a real rigid sidewall. Paint that inside sidewall. And what it does is it allows the sidewall to work. It'll get in there, it'll get into those cords just a little bit, but it allows that sidewall to move. And when the sidewall can move just a little bit, you can create stagger if you want it. But the big thing is it allows the patch to stay on the ground if the sidewall works properly. So, and it's a good thing for the asphalt guys. We sell a lot of this to road racers, and you wouldn't, it's a big deal for them to be able to, because they'll use the same set of tires for a long time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
SCCA and stuff like that.
Sure. I think some of the misconceptions are anybody who's come from the kart world is that that's a whole process. As in, I mean, it's like, I don't know, you clean your tires on Monday and you put something on Tuesday and you bake them in an oven and then you stand on your head the next day. And I mean, I don't really know all the whole process, but it's a process. I think it's really like, it's mind blowing to see how simple this is. It's clean the tire, throw on one coat, boom, you're done.
For the most part. Now, for instance, the blue, you need to let it set 3 to 4 days because we've purposely made it where it won't flash. We want it to just stay on this tire and go deep as it can. And so you just lay it on its side, wrap it, and lay it on its side for about 3 or 4 days. Now, if you don't have that much time, you can use the green because it's the same composition, but it flashes a lot quicker. So, but it won't go as deep. But if you want it to go deep, you want the blue. And for the guys that want to race on Friday but don't start getting ready till Thursday, the black.
Or if there's someplace, I mean, heck, if they're in Iowa, they can race 5 to 7 nights a week.
Oh, yeah.
So you just may not have, like here in the Carolinas.
Oh, I know.
You really only have Friday and Saturday, if that, maybe.
There was a lady come by a while ago in our booth, and she bought every product here. And she looked like she's probably close to 70, but she still races. And she's a road racer, but they're an endurance racer. And she says, I want something I can put on on Friday night after that race that I can race the next morning. So she bought everything there, but she's all excited about that black because she can just jack her tire up and put a coat on and go race the next day. But I mean, she was tickled.
Yeah.
I mean, she really was, So I'm excited to see, and she races a Mini Cooper.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah, and she's a school teacher, so that was pretty cool. Yeah. Anybody got any questions about any of the products? Now, these are elastomers and plasticizers. They don't degrade a tire. They're not a softener. So we have a demonstration for that, but we didn't have the time. But we put these products into a styrofoam cup and they'll set all day. But you put some of that goat stuff that smells and they just melt the cup totally. So it gives you. But these and for the last 6 years, I guess. We've been using these products on a weekly basis in a series called the Gen X Racing Series, where you have to run used tires. It's a very affordable racing series in the Midwest, and part of it's a late. This is the tire for them. It's a late model that you run a used tires, a steel-bodied shock, and a 602 motor, and an old rocket chassis or something like that. And it's the fastest growing series in the Midwest right now.
And isn't it like at that same track, you've got another division that is buying these brand new, and then I don't know if the track is maybe buying them, for pennies on the dollar from those takeoffs, but then maybe they're turning around and selling them to the used market. And
for the longest time until they started the series, they were just thrown away.
Yeah.
And so now these guys are buying these tires for about $20 a piece. But yes, they do have to take the time to recondition them, and then normally it's going to cost you between $10 and $12 on the average tire to treat, but you get a new like tire.
Yeah, $30 to $40 is still less than $250. I don't care what mass scale we use.
Well, if you multiply it times 4.
Yeah, there's almost $800 to $1,000 for tires, or we're less than $200. Yeah,
so, but it gives you a little bit of an idea, but we're down at the far end of the booth. If somebody wants to come by, please come by. Or is there any other questions?
Do you have to treat it every week then?
Do you have to treat it every week is the question?
You don't have to. It all depends on the tire and the track. So if you've got a real hot track or something like that, you might want to. It depends on how long your race is. If you've got short races, now I can tell you in our series out there, they don't treat them every week, because they only have 20, 25 lap races.
But you're still going to clean them.
They clean
I mean,
them.
you'll get home and you'll get the
always clean
aqua, bring out the aqua and clean it really well.
Yeah.
And I guess you can just kind of do it by feel.
Yeah. But or you can put a little light coat on them if you want to. But once you get them cleaned and you get them totally dry, remember you have to have them dry before you put the products on. And I like for them to be dry before you even use the aqua, so it can go deep. You know, it is.
Well, and it's funny because being female, I mean, I can relate because I'm like, this is the thing that opens up the pores of the tire, you know,
Yeah.
which is like opening up the pores of your skin if you wanted to use serums or moisturizers. So any of the ladies that would be in the room or that would be watching this video later, and to really allow any of these other products to really absorb into the skin of the tire.
Yeah, and David, from a track owner's standpoint, and somebody that's run these things for a long time and knows the products well, you know, you can probably enlighten these people as much as
And
anybody.
if you want to come up here, David, or if I can hand you a microphone here. Yeah, come on up here, David.
So I've run Buck's products since he's invented it,
Yeah.
I guess. I've run the tire treatments as long as,
Come up to the mic, and that way it'll be on the.
as long as they've been out before I was a track owner or whatever, I've run the products. And if you can imagine a tire that's, a lot of racers, and you guys can either say yes or no, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna agree with me that the tire's really not great until it's heat cycled. I get that one heat cycle in that tire and it's awesome. Or this UMP tire is better when it's heat cycled one time. And you go into finding out why is that the case? The case is the mold release, like Buck was telling you. And all the research and stuff I've done on tires, the mold release is in that tire. You grind it, the mold release is still there. If you don't know how to grind that tire the first time, you're smearing mold release around. Once you hit the 113 degree mark on a tire, all you've done is took mold release and smeared it into the pores. So, with that being said, you go out there and you run your heat cycle. Well, the tire was pretty good. It's a brand new grippy tire. Well, you get the heat cycle, you regrind it again. What happened to make it better? Well, we found out by doing samples and testing that mold release is less. It's still there. It's not as much. And you've opened those pores up and they stay open. You haven't smeared the grease around. And now the good chemicals that are in those tires, because those guys put good chemicals in those tires. Hoosier spends a lot of money putting a good chemical in that tire. Now you've allowed that tire to ooze out the good chemicals. The first time you couldn't because you had smeared all the stuff in it before, and you smeared. Okay. So anyway, you have smeared that mold release into your pores. Now your heat cycle's done. You've ground. You're good. Now with Buck's product, you go out there and the first time you grind it, you smear it around, and then you go ahead and you got a nice dry tire. You take the aqua, you put it on there, it pulls the mold release out. Now it opens those pores, like Kate was saying, that you got the makeup on, your pores are wide open. Now you've dried that tire off real good, you've wrapped it, you've stopped the dirt getting back in it. You're still not treating the tire. You're not changing the molecular structure of the tire. You're pulling the pores empty. Now when you go race that very first time you hit that first hot qualifying lap, you got the best that tire's ever going to be in its life, because those new chemicals are coming out of them pores and you're going to put down a fast lap.
And is that legal?
Yes, ma'am.
In all series?
Yes. And the reason why is because we're not changing the molecular structure. We're not allowing it to soak in the tire. You don't put it on there and then put the wrap on. Can you? Yes. You can do it with Simple Green. If you take Simple Green or any other kind of compound and you hold it on the tire and you allow it to flash and change the rubber, then you've changed the molecular structure of that rubber. Myself as a track owner and a friend of Buck's, I've took the product and I've tested and tested. I've sent to Blue Ridge Labs and I've not told them who it was, what it was, where it came from. This was 5-6 years ago. And the aqua does not change the molecular compound if you do it the way you're supposed to. But if you take it and you wrap it and you use it as a treatment, then yes, it will. But we have had, me and Trent Young run a UMP modified for years on the circuit, 70, 80 races a year, and I would not go to a race unless I'd done that for my qualifying laps. And we had tire sample after tire sample after tire sample sent off, and never ever do we have a bad tire sample. So that is probably the most important thing I could do to a tire to make it work the very first time we go hit that racetrack. And then the other products are really, really good, because after that, once that tire's old, or last year you're running that street stock, you're in that budget racer, and you want that tire to be like it was new again, well, I'd sell them to these guys, and they'd be ground, they'd be wore down, they'd be last year's tires. Well, I'd take them and I'd run chemical on them, and they get the same durometer right back again, and they open the pores back up and they go back racing again. But that's what I got to say about the aqua.
Well, thanks. See, I told you he knew the products pretty well. Thanks, David. Yeah.
I think big thing to add too is that here up here we're not trying to get anyone to cheat, but and there's no but. We're not trying to get anyone to cheat. The reality is have the rules kept up with the technology. We understand why rules were put in place in the first place, but we're not operating under the same circumstances. When we're faced with different conditions, sometimes we need to adapt. And I understand that that's where the controversy comes in. And it's like, if you allow one tire treatment, what are you going to do with these toxic ones? And how does that all work? And I do understand that there's some challenges there, but I do want to make it clear that we're not trying to hey, this is how you get away with cheating. I just want everybody to know that.
Well, when the rule was made, and I go back to saying that in 1969, you could go over here to any corner store, and put a nickel in go in this box and put a nickel in there and call somebody. Those boxes aren't there anymore. Remember back then you used a rotary phone and you dial it. Well, half of the people in here don't even know what a rotary phone is because they're too young. That's when these rules were made. It's time for us to at least look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why we went to PRI. That's why they actually invited us. So people are looking at it. We are going to change this.
Well, things have changed in the last 20 or 30 years in that tire. That tire used to have a composition that's mainly rubber. It is not rubber anymore. Our composition is more plastic than it is rubber. So the elastomers and the polymers in that new soft treatment is not what it was in the tire treatments 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're not destroying rubber. It's into plastic now. It's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you say that the old style tire treatments were kind of like a meat tenderizer? So when we think about that, when we put, if you're going to take meat out of the freezer and you put some salt on it, the whole idea is that's going to open it up. And if we start breaking down the tissue, that's when we're going to actually release the flavor in a steak. It's kind of crazy, but that's what we were doing with the old tire treatments. Because I try to explain this. I mean, when I explain it, I try to explain it in things that everybody would understand. And then, but I always think of these, and my experience of dealing with it is kind of like having a car with really old leather seats. And, you've got old leather seats that are either sort of cracking or almost cracking, and you use a really good leather conditioner, and it's after a while, it's just that nice, soft and supple, and that's what I would compare this tire to.
The analogy I think you should use, because you have pretty hair.
Oh, thank you.
Is that?
And it's real.
When
The color isn't, but
when you wash your hair, think about it. You get it clean and everything, but it's not manageable. But when you put a conditioner on there, it makes it manageable.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is it doesn't soften it. It doesn't make it any less strong.
Right.
And that's the way this is. This tire gets stronger because of the conditioners, and it doesn't degrade. It doesn't degrade this tire. The products that are out there that are illegal right now degrade tires.
Well, you bring up another great point too. Speaking about conditioners, if I didn't put conditioner in my hair, my hair could very easily get brittle. Mm-hmm. So conditioner in a way will add flexibility to my hair so that that it's not just going to break if it gets crunched. Right. Same way with your tire, that you're adding some flexibility to it, not softening it, but flexibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's, guys, we could go on talking about this. We really need your help and need everybody's help to tell people, hey, there's a new animal out here. I mean, these products really work. They truly work. And the more that we can get that word out, maybe there's the people like David and that have the power to help make that turn. This is a big ship, and it's not going to turn too easy. But the more people that know that we have some good products that don't hurt people, that really do help the racers, and let's face it, there's a lot of people that don't go racing because they can't afford tires.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest problem we have is racers, but I hear from these guys is, if I'm coming to a racetrack, and I own a racetrack, so if I'm coming to a racetrack And this guy over here puts on 4 brand-new tires every single week. I cannot beat that guy. Well, the problem that happens is 2 or 3 races in, that tire has pulled out all the chemicals. It's used the chemical, it has 100% of the chemical in it. So I've used 70% of it, I've used 60% of it, I use 40%. It's not the tread's still half, and sometimes half a tread is better than a full tread. But my chemical's used up. If I can keep using that same tire all season until the tread's gone, then that guy can't beat me on brand new sticker tires, because I still got the good chemicals.
Yeah.
That's where the life of a tire will make it to where a racer will want it, is if I can still compete with the guy with brand new tires.
And that's true, that's true. We have to buy new tires in order to beat competitive.
If you don't buy a brand new tire, you're not competitive. But if you can put the chemical back in of the good elastomers and elastomers that are in the tire anyway, if you can put those back in and be competitive with the new guy, I don't have to buy a new set of tires. I can spend $10 on my tire, because I only got to do it once that week. I spend $10 versus $250.
And I would encourage anyone who's here to actually we can open up these caps and smell the products. And there's not a lot to smell, but you know, if you kind of want that proof, you don't have to, you'll not ever be gassed out of anything because there's no fumes.
No.
How safe that product is.
Oh,
When I walked into the show, I opened one of it, I stuck my finger in it, and I put it in my mouth. I'm that confident in that product.
He really did, and I told him not to, but he.
We're wearing rubber gloves to protect our skin from that.
yeah. And I'm going to give a shout out for Buck too. For anybody who doesn't know, Buck is in the NASA Technology Hall of Fame for a lubricant he designed for the space shuttle system. There is a crawler. It's the vehicle that takes the shuttle from the shop over to the rocket launcher pad. And feel free to correct me if I say anything wrong here. Yeah. But when they were moving that thing's so heavy that thing that crawler, trawler, whatever it's called, it would go through bearings multiple times. Like they would have to, they'd go only so far, they're going to change the bearings. Move it so far, change the bearings. Well, the lubricant that Buck came up with made it so that crawler can go back and forth. He also was under some very, very strict guidelines because where is this launch pad? This is in Florida. This is in the Everglades. You've got alligators to protect and everything else. So it had to be non-toxic. And you did all of that, and now, yeah.
We made them a totally biodegradable, non-toxic product that I like to say the bugs can eat in 28 days. And so they appreciate it, and so I get a phone call after we had made the products, and to be a little bit further along with it, the EPA was closing them down because they were polluting the aquifer. That's how I got involved when they called me. But long story short, we were able to do it, and about 60 or 70 days later, I get a phone call that says, "Hey, you've been nominated to be in the NASA Space Technology Hall of Fame," which was quite an honor, and I was making a big deal out of it, and then as much as I could, and then about 30 days later, you got another one that says, "Hey, you're in the top 10," and I didn't realize there's anybody other than me in the beginning, and then but there was 100 people, and then a little while later, about another month or two, got a phone call from the director down there that says, "Can you be in Colorado on such and such a date? You're going to be inducted into the NASA Space Technology Hall of Fame." And it still puts cold chills on.
Yeah.
But thank you for acknowledging that. And
I think it shows also your commitment to making safe products. And also your commitment and your ability to make safe products. Because there are a lot of like backyard chemists and everything else, and to not understand that what you're bringing to our circle of we've got going. We're so lucky to have someone so talented in our industry.
Well, I couldn't have said that any better. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On the asphalt, how long will it last during the race, like lap-wise, do you think?
Well, well, again, there you go. You know tracks better than I do as far as asphalt goes. Some of them are slick, some of them are like sandpaper, And so you'll get to know, it's gonna double what you're doing already.
Let me ask you a question, is it legal to do what you're doing, to treat tires and
Oh, you can do what you want. Well,
Okay.
and certainly, right.
Well, okay, so I can answer that question. So if you treat the inside of the tire and the outside of the tire the way you're taught to do by the program, then the tire treatment, you'll put, I think it's 1 ounce, I think it's 1 ounce per inch.
Yeah.
That's the way I was teaching my guys back in the day. So 8-inch wide tire, use 8 ounces, 12-inch wide tire, use 12 ounces. And you roll the tire till it evaporates on the inside, which is 1 hour per ounce. That's how I did mine. So that would work through your cords on the inside and come through. And as you treat from the outside, you treat it to the outside. So as the race gets going along farther and you lower that tire down past the nipples and it gets farther and farther, the tire will start picking up speed by the end of the race. And you have better lap times at the end of the race than you have at the beginning of the race. That's how you know when a guy's on tire for and knows what he's doing. So in the go-kart world, the asphalt world, if he's picking up lap times and everybody else is slowing down, it's not because he's got faster, it's his lap times not fell off.
Absolutely.
So you can maintain your lap times consistently to the end of the race if you're treating the inside of the tire.
He's telling his secrets now. But yeah, the products don't know where they're at. If you use them properly, they'll work. You know, so, but yeah, feel free to come by and look at some of the other products that we have down there. I think everything that we make, it helps the racer, and it helps you go faster, and it helps you last longer. So that's about all I got.
Has your stuff ever been DQ'd at a track, have called it?
Absolutely, absolutely. It will change the chemical compound.
Yeah. We tell everybody, and if anybody ever tells you,
The cleaner will not.
no, the cleaner won't. No.
We'll add compound to it and Blue Ridge can detect it. I mean, it's 100%. I know the lady. I've showed it to her 1,000 times. And that's the thing we don't want to do. We don't want to cheat. We don't want to cheat. And we want to tell you right up front, hey, it's not, everything's identified. If somebody tells you that it's not detectable, they're lying.
They're lying.
Or they're using a chemical compound that does not help your tire. They're selling smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, but
I can tell you some stuff right now and tell you that it helps straight on.
yeah. No, anything that you leave in the tire is going to have a fingerprint. So if you leave it in the tire, it's going to be seen, because when they burn these, it flashes off gases, and even though these are elastomers and plasticizer that are in here already, or a similar product is in here already, the gases are going to be a lot greater. So when it comes off, and say it might normally spike this high, well, with these products, it's probably going to be up this high. So they're going to know something's there ain't supposed to be. And then I might not be able to tell you exactly what it is, but they realize that's not wasn't in that tire to start with. So, but anything that you leave on, and if you go on down the track, you pick up some motor oil, and they happen to cut that, you're going to see that. It's going to spike. It's going to do something.
Well, I mean, Simple Green. There was a presentation, and again, that was like 10 or 11 years ago, and it was for a promoter's workshop, and Blue Ridge Labs came and actually spoke at that one. I do have that segment. I've got that on YouTube if anybody is interested in seeing that. But they were saying that they could even, if they see a certain spike, it's like they know it's Simple Green, so they're not concerned about it. You know, that they can see it though.
Yeah, if you use our products correctly, because we tell you, spray it on and then pressure wash it off, it's gone, because it's going to leave with the mold release. It's released. So you pressure wash it, there's nothing left in there, and David knows that.
Yeah, the aqua is a cleaner. It's not the it don't have the elastomers and the polymers in it.
No.
It's designed to open the pores up, pour the mold release off of it, and you wash and dry and clean it. It's not there no more. And the chemical compound is made up of it. Once the tire heats up, once you get the heat in it, it flashes that chemical off, and that chemical is not there no more.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally, the cleaner and the tire prep are totally two different chemicals.
We done?
I think so. I think we're good. I want to thank everybody for coming to this session. Obviously, thank you, Buck, for all your hard work and for sharing your knowledge. And thanks for everyone who's here and that we can all expand our knowledge. And it can kind of change the conversation a little bit. You know, let's get the right information out there. And this isn't because I want to necessarily sell a product. I don't need, you know, it's not about that.
It'll help the sport.
It will. I would predict that there will be a day will come where a whole bunch of extra racing tires that are ending up somewhere in landfills or somewhere else, if that's not already a problem at some of these local tracks, I can imagine we don't need any bad press from an environmental standpoint for our sport. We're not the most environmentally friendly sport. Let's just be real about it. But we don't need to make things any worse. And this I think this helps us. I mean, we're producing less waste. It's so sad to see that a person would use a tire for a couple of hours and then that's it. That's wasteful. Come on, we can do better than that. So that's just my take. I'm not trying to be a hippie over here or anything. It's just I think we can do better. And there's way more fun things to spend our money on, right? You know, I want to see people to improve and have great looking cars, and let's make sure we put some money into safety. And you know, I'd rather see somebody make sure that they're being safe, and fire suits and fire suppression and safety is a whole nother thing, and it's not sexy at all. But I'd rather see us, if we've got a limited budget, let's make sure that we're allocating that so that our drivers can continue to be safe, that they can be competitive, that we can continue to prolong our sport. Because the more we can, the more we take away from it and things are more and more high, or it all becomes money, I know it's there, but it's just tough. So this is one little thing that could potentially make a difference, but some people's minds have to be opened up a little bit. Yep. But thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank you for
guys.
being here. And thanks for
Appreciate
coming to
y'all.
the show as well. Thank you.
Y'all did a great job.